Sometimes love doesn't look like the movies. It looks like unread messages. It looks like a late-night parking lot. It looks like a decision you can't unmake. Gwinnett County, Georgia. Preston Hills at Mill Creek Apartments. August 11th, 2022. 3 lives converged. A teen would later laugh while recounting parts of the night. By dawn, 1 was gone. 2 were in custody. A child would grow up missing a mother. And a community was left asking the question at the heart of every crime of passion. When does love stop being love and start being ownership? There is a quiet in Georgia summer nights that feels like a held breath. The air hangs and listens. Crickets scratch the edges of silence. Light from apartments spills into courtyards like small, square confessions. In that quiet, a triangle of people move toward a point that could have been a conversation, but turned into catastrophe. If stories like this make you look beneath the headlines, subscribe to Broken Minds. And tell us your first instinct in the comments. What pushes someone over the edge? Jealousy, betrayal, untreated pain, or something else? Her name was Antonetta Phylisha Stevens, 27 years old. People who knew her remember warmth and humor, a quickness to light up a room, times when her presence felt like a relief. They also remember volatility, suspicion, a hunger for reassurance that, like a tide, kept receding no matter how many times it was poured back. She lived with bipolar disorder, a fact that deserves care and context. Mental illness can explain pain. It does not excuse harm. Millions live with bipolar disorder and never hurt anyone. Hold that truth steady. It matters, and it belongs in this story. She had a fiancé's stake in Daniel Gonzalez. To her, he wasn't just a boyfriend. He was proof that she was wanted, chosen, important. Proof that a fragile future could be held together if they both tried. They had moved to Georgia, crossing state lines the way people do when they're hoping geography can fix what habit won't. They shared an apartment. They shared routines. They shared pieces of their pasts in the form of children, blending lives the way families do when old chapters still echo inside new rooms. There is an economy in relationships that runs on promises and apologies. The promise that things will be different now. The apology that things were not different yesterday. People who have never stood at the edge of a love like that are quick to judge. People who have stood there know that leaving sometimes feels like drowning in open water. You can see the shore, but your arms are tired, and the waves keep insisting that staying still is safer than trying. Daniel worked nights at Floor and Decor in Gwinnett County. Night shifts stretch out time. The world goes quiet and repetitive tasks expand to fill the hours between midnight and morning. In spaces like that, conversations linger. You learn how a person takes their coffee, what songs they hum when the aisles are empty, how they handle pressure when a truck comes late or an order goes wrong. It is easy to confuse proximity with destiny. It is easy to mistake the glow of fatigue for the warmth of connection. His manager was a woman named Ashley Bocanegra. She was 30. She had a 7-year-old son. She was from the Bronx, a New York native who moved south to build something steadier, slower, safer for her child and for herself. She was a mother before anything else. She was a daughter and a friend. She had routines. The shift schedule pinned to her fridge. The school notices magnet into a small collage. The morning she woke her son with a song. The night she fell asleep before the show finished, because mornings come early for working parents. At work, Daniel and Ashley talked. It started with casual exchanges, inventory, scheduling, jokes about the radio, small complaints about long shifts. Casual turned familiar. Familiar turned complicated. Boundaries blurred the way frost melts across a window. At first, you only notice the edges. Then you realize visibility has changed. When a boundary moves, the people outside the moment often don't notice. Inside the moment, people deny it. We're just talking. Don't make this something it isn't. You're imagining things. The shift is small enough to justify, but tiny shifts add up. A phone turns face down. A break runs longer than necessary. A walk to the quick-trip convenience store becomes habit, then necessity, then the moment each day feels like it swings on. For Antonetta, suspicion crept in like water under a door. The first time, you don't notice. The second time, you find a small puddle and tell yourself someone spilled something. By the time the baseboards swell, you're already living with damage. She scrolled. She checked. She searched for anchors, proof that she was safe, or proof that she was not. She learned how to read his face when a message came in. She watched for the change in tone when a name showed up on the screen. She scanned conversations for that edge of familiarity that hurts more than a confession. A joke that feels shared, a nickname that sounds like a promise, a heart emoji that means nothing, and everything depending on who pressed send. There is a point in this pattern when forgiveness becomes a rehearsal. How many times can you forgive the same wound before you teach it how to cut deeper? We do not ask that question to judge. We ask it to map where the slope steepens and where fall becomes inevitable if you keep walking. Pressure built. Arguments flared and faded. Moments of connection were followed by accusations and explanations. Anyone who has lived inside that rhythm knows it is like a wave that never quite breaks. You brace, you exhale, you brace again. People close to her heard Antonetta talk about people playing games. They heard the frustration, the fury, the apology that ran just behind it like a shadow trying to keep up. She held Daniel like a lifeline and a proof, the way someone holds a railing even as the railing pulls free from the wall. Somewhere in those weeks, love began to look less like care and more like possession. The space between those two can be hard to see from the inside. From the outside, the line is almost always visible. Love makes room, possession closes doors. There is another character in the story, though some would say it is only a setting, the phone. The modern confessional, the keeper of secrets and schedules, the instrument with which we build and break trust. On the screen, so much of the human drama plays out with a light tap of a thumb. The phone is neutral until it is not. It is a tool until it is a weapon. It is a bridge until it becomes a trap. In the weeks leading up to that August night, the phone became the map of the triangle. It carried words across distances. It carried shifts in power. It carried denials and confessions and the ambiguous space in between. It would, finally, carry a voice that did not belong to the person it claimed to be. A voice you trust is the easiest voice to counterfeit. If you've ever felt that shiver when a message doesn't sound quite like the person you love, tell us below and subscribe to Broken Minds so you can stay with the story to its final breath. Preston Hills at Mill Creek doesn't look like a crime scene. It looks like a place where people live. Groceries up the stairs. Kids on scooters tracing figure eights. A leasing office with summer flyers taped to the glass. The 2900 block of Buford Drive humming with the predictable rhythm of a Thursday that looks like 100 other Thursdays. In settings like this, the idea of horror feels abstract. But tragedy is stubborn in this way. It arrives in ordinary places, and it does not ask the place to change first. According to investigators, the meeting that followed was not chance. Using Daniel's phone and posing as him, Antonetta, his fiancée, sent messages to Ashley. Phrases crafted to slip past defenses and land where trust lives. Come, I need you. I'm in trouble. It is the specific cruelty of a lure to use the shape of care to deliver harm. Impersonation borrows a voice you know and makes it a blade. It is theft of tone, theft of phrase, theft of the shorthand that people develop with one another through time. Ashley came. She expected Daniel. Instead, she found his fiancée waiting under the streetlights. Arms crossed, jaws set, the August heat still in the air like an argument that hasn't yet been spoken. There are conversations you can have anywhere. There are others you should never have alone. The conversation ahead was the second kind. Words came first. They almost always do. Accusations and denials, and the last fragile attempts to de-escalate. You can feel when a conversation stops being about truth and starts being about dominance. Phrases repeat, the same syllables wear grooves into the night. When listening stops being a tool for understanding and becomes a tool for finding the next angle, the conversation is already gone. All that remains is the performance of being right. A recording later captured fragments of what unfolded next. Threats flung into warm air. Pleas that slid past ears already closed. A fight erupted in the parking area. Asphalt holds secrets till morning. Tiny scrapes, darkened patches where time laid down and didn't get back up. The nervous system stepped in to narrow the moment. Adrenaline rose, breath shortened, the future collapsed into a small circle of now. In circles like that, people do not make plans. They make impacts. Daniel's 17-year-old sister, Janine Rosa Gonzalez, recorded parts of the altercation on a phone. The lens became a veil. Why do people film pain? Proof. Loyalty. spectacle. Sometimes filming is a way to touch danger without feeling it. Sometimes it is a way to avoid the question every bystander must answer. Will I step in if it's safe to do so? Time stretched. A minute felt like 5. 5 felt like forever. During the fight, Ashley's phone was taken. Later, she followed to the apartment door and the phone was returned. That should have been the end. There were a dozen exits on that path, but no one took them. Injured and struggling to breathe, Ashley made it to the hospital. Emergency rooms have their own weather. Neutral lights trying and failing to be kind. Air that smells like antiseptic and endings. The sound of wheels, always wheels, saying something is moving even when something else has stopped. Staff recognized the severity and prepared to transfer her for surgery. A transfer has a rhythm. Calls placed, papers readied, consent gathered, logistics aligned. When that rhythm halts, it is the loudest quiet a building can make. Ashley died before they could operate. Reports described rib fractures and severe internal injuries. An autopsy documented blunt force trauma and generalized internal trauma. Among the findings was an adrenal gland rupture. The body speaks in a grammar that does not care about opinion. It says what happened in terms that cannot be softened without lying. Investigators say the lure came from Daniel's phone, typed by his fiancée, and the teen sister later laughed during portions of her interview. 3 rooms, 3 realities. In one, a woman sat still and asked for a lawyer. In another, a teenager recounted the night and at moments laughed. Outside, a man buckled when he learned a woman had died. Which reaction makes sense to you, and which chills you? Tell us in the comments, and subscribe to Broken Minds to stay with the case as we follow the evidence to its conclusion. Detectives did the slow, patient work that turns narratives into facts. Phone records clarified the lure. Messages showed intent. The device download retrieved words typed in one voice and sent as another. The video captured fragments of violence. Witness statements bracketed the edges and filled in pieces of time. Taken together, the outcome became clear. This was not chance chaos. This was confrontation pulled into place. Daniel confirmed that messages had been sent from his phone and consented to a download. When he was told Ashley had died, something in him gave way. Grief does not apply for permission. It does not wait for us to tidy our roles. It collides with our worst moments and lays claim regardless. The law moved the way it moves. The initial charges named the worst plausible version: felony murder, robbery, aggravated battery. Then the narrowing, an offer, arguments, pleading, the weighing of what could be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. In the end, both Antonetta Stevens and Janine Gonzalez were convicted of voluntary manslaughter and robbery by force. Each received a 20-year sentence. Records placed them at Arundel State Prison, with maximum release dates in August 2042. In Georgia, voluntary manslaughter recognizes a killing in the heat of passion caused by serious provocation. It reduces culpability from murder, but does not erase responsibility. Justice, or just a name? Does voluntary manslaughter fit what you've heard? Pause there, and if thoughtful true crime matters to you, subscribe to Broken Minds and add your view in the comments. Toxic love makes a promise. You will be safe if you can control enough. Check more phones. Set tighter rules. Eliminate rivals. The lies that control equals love. It does not. It expands the blast radius. It turns a 2-person problem into a 3-person crisis. Culture writes cruel scripts. It pits women against each other for status and stability. It hands out roles where the partner inside the relationship becomes the sun, and the person outside becomes the eclipse. Rage runs downhill to the easiest target, the rival you can see, not the partner whose choices bent the orbit. That script is wrong. It is also sticky. It makes fury feel righteous even as it points it in the wrong direction. Mental illness often gets dragged into the center of stories like this and asked to carry more than it should. Untreated symptoms can amplify risk, impulsivity, agitation, reactivity. But diagnosis does not equal violence. The danger here was a mixture: insecurity with nowhere to land, social pressure that rewards escalation, the mythology of ride or die that romanticizes endurance over safety, and a plan wrapped in a costume of love defending itself. Which ingredient is most dangerous? Obsession, rivalry, or untreated pain? The worst damage often arrives when all 3 agree on a single night. Before the spiral, there are whispers. Have you felt the moment a story you're telling yourself begins to replace the person in front of you? Drop a yes or I know that feeling in the comments, and subscribe to Broken Minds to keep these conversations honest and humane. Every spiral has stages. Naming them is not about blame. It is about building exits. Insecurity leads to surveillance. The phone checks. The location pings. The late night scrolling through old messages, hoping that looking backwards will save what is collapsing ahead. Insecurity insists that more information equals more safety. It rarely does. It often turns data into kindling. Social pressure leads to performative retaliation. Friends tell you not to be played. They tell you to show strength. The culture applauds the face-off because it makes good stories, not good outcomes. Catharsis is a chemical event. Safety is structural. Storytelling turns a person into a symbol. She is not Ashley, she becomes the threat. He is not Daniel, he becomes the proof. When people become symbols, empathy dims. And when empathy dims, harm feels justified. Tipping points arrive disguised as small things. Sleep, money, proof. Exhaustion narrows thinking. Financial stress makes pride brittle. An ambiguous text becomes a verdict. A missed call becomes a confession. In a life already stretched thin, minor variables get promoted to major. Decision points appear. Lure. Confront. Walk away. People pretend there is no fork. There is. There always is. If there weren't, the next activist story would not exist. Collapse follows. Real bodies. Real consequences. Breath that won't come. Bones that break. A heart that stops. The aftermath brings minimization. We didn't mean meets this is what you did. At which step would you have turned around? Say it in the comments. And if you value stories that name the exits, subscribe to Broken Minds. This community learns from each other in real time. There is the legal story, and there is the human one. The legal story is clean because it has to be. The human story allows true things to sit next to each other and refuse to cancel out. He did not throw the fatal blows. He also did not build the stability the situation most needed. Ambivalence is destabilizing. I want you on Monday. We're done on Thursday. I don't know in between. That rhythm trains people to chase clarity until they are breathless. For someone wired to fear abandonment, that rhythm cuts like a blade, whether or not it was meant to. Consistency is a quiet courage, picking a lane and staying in it, saying the true thing and then living like you believe it, ending what is already broken instead of holding the halves because the whole scares you. If he had set a clear boundary, would this triangle have loosened? The answer does not change the past. It may rescue a future we have not arrived at yet. Crimes reverberate. A neighborhood called. A leasing office flagged concerns. A hospital called police. Communities absorb trauma the way concrete absorbs heat. It lingers after dark. Ashley's 7-year-old lost his mother. The scale of that loss cannot fit inside a sentence. It becomes empty chairs at birthdays. It becomes assemblies where applause hurts. It becomes a home a half beat off, a song no one can sing the way she did. It becomes words a child learns too early. Autopsy, transfer, custody, shapes in a mouth that should be busy with simpler things. 2 other boys will know their mother through visiting rooms and phone calls. Childhood measured in scheduled voices and commissary lists. Love is still love on the phone. It is also thinner, stretched across rules no one in the family wrote. 20-year sentences, close court dockets. They do not close grief. They plant stakes in calendars. They cannot set a timer on sorrow. What does justice look like here? Punishment, treatment, public accountability, something else? Tell us in the comments. And if holding space for victims while telling hard truths matters to you, subscribe to Broken Minds and stay with us to the end. We like simple villains, so we can sleep. But the soil of this crime is ordinary. Abandonment fear, pride, humiliation, the need to be chosen. The lie that control equals love. You may not see yourself in the violence. You may see yourself in the early steps, the text that felt like oxygen, the boundary you argued with because the truth frightened you more than the lie, the story you told yourself so you could stay. If you see even a shard of this in yourself, it is not a confession of danger. It is an invitation to heal. Healing looks like loss at first, leaving the relationship you kept alive with rituals that never saved it, Leaving the job that kept your best self asleep. Leaving the version of you that loved drama because quiet felt like being ignored. Heal or leave. Not a slogan, an itinerary. 1,000 small choices. Refusing a confrontation. Not driving over. Calling a counselor. Asking a friend to be a witness, not an audience. Choosing life tomorrow over victory tonight. Courts sort facts. People sort meaning. We carry what we need to keep living. Some carry this. Jealousy corrodes judgment. Whether or not it has cause, it wrecks tomorrow when it shoves you against the sharp edges of tonight. Others carry this. Boundaries are not optional. They are scaffolding. Without them, structures collapse when weather comes. Weather always comes. Some carry this. Mental health is urgent care. You do not wait until you cannot breathe to seek air. You do not wait until you cannot sleep to tell someone. You do not wait until after you press send to ask what you're doing. Others carry this. Choosing no one is still a choice. You are allowed to step out of a triangle and force it into two lines that never touch. That shape has a name, boundary, and some carry this. Dignity is not a trophy. It does not come from winning. It comes from how you treat people when you are losing. It is the choice to walk away while you still can. Which lesson will you carry? Share one line in the comments, and subscribe to Broken Minds if you want your feed to hold more than sensationalism. There is a respectful way to walk a night back. A message, a drive, streetlights caught in windshield glass, a parking lot where a breath holds itself, words rehearsed silently, then released like arrows, fists, asphalt, a phone taken, a phone returned, a hospital corridor, too bright to be kind, an attempt at transfer, a death before surgery, a man folding at the news, a teen laugh during parts of her later interview, a sound that doesn't make sense and yet chills, a woman facing 20 years, a child who will wake to a subtraction no one can solve. The ordinariness of the steps is the horror. Most of us have stood in a parking lot to have a hard conversation. Most of us have stared at a phone and waited for it to tell us who we are. Most of us have believed that the right words could control the outcome. Control is a story we tell to keep moving. Accountability is what arrives when the story ends. Be Ashley. Do you go when someone you care about says they need you? Trust is heavy. It is also how communities survive. The cruelty here is that trust was used as a corridor to harm. Be Daniel. Do you face both people or hide? Caution and cowardice look alike from certain angles. Consequences reveal which is which. Be Janine. Do you film or intervene? Filming preserves truth later. Intervening preserves life now. The lens is not a shield, it is only glass. Be Antonetta. Do you call a therapist a friend or a rival? Only one of those multiplies harm. Wisdom rarely looks like victory in the moment. It looks like life after. If you were there, which role do you imagine you'd play? And what would you do differently? Share below. And if careful reconstructions resonate with you, subscribe to Broken Minds. Your perspective shapes how we tell the next case. Apartments turn over. Courtrooms close. Children grow. 20 years as calendars and counts. Concrete and steel and routines remade. Birthdays measured by phone calls. Seasons glimpsed through glass and chain link. The world moves forward without you, even as the echo of one night keeps its rhythm in your bones. Ashley's absence lives in all the places she used to be. It sits at kitchen tables and in carpool lines. It stands by doors with shoes that no longer fit the boy who wore them when she last tied his laces. It flattens time in photographs, her face the same while everyone else changes. The truest sentence may be the simplest, this never should have happened. And yet the telling matters. We don't tell to reopen wounds for spectacle. We tell to study the stitches, to name the exits, to keep another night from repeating itself in a different parking lot, a different city, a different family who will hear a doctor say a word that ends a room. A mother from the Bronx moved south to build steadier ground. A fiancé mistook control for safety. A teenager hid behind a lens. A man let ambiguity be his language until it became a weapon none of them recognized until too late. A community remembered that there is no such thing as private violence. It always goes public eventually, in sirens, in headlines, in the whispered warnings neighbors give each other when summer nights settle and the crickets start their scraping again. What love isn't. We end with a mirror, not a verdict. Some piece of this lives in many of us. The need to be chosen, the temptation to be charming in two places at once, the habit of filming pain instead of interrupting it, the training to run when a text says, "I need you," even when the route is dark. Sometimes love looks like leaving. Sometimes love looks like deleting a number. Sometimes love looks like telling the truth once and then living by it. Sometimes love looks like going home. Sometimes it looks like calling a friend instead of a rival. Sometimes it looks like not driving over. Sometimes it looks like staying alive. Love is not surveillance, not humiliation, not a test someone else must fail. Love is what stops you from sending the message that brings pain to your door. Love is what lets you walk away so everyone can live. If this story made you think differently about love, control, and the lies that feel like safety, subscribe to Broken Minds and share one sentence below you wish someone had told you before your hardest night. The case is closed on paper, but not in the hearts of those who live with it. What would justice look like to you now? And what would prevention have looked like then? Add your view in the comments and subscribe to Broken Minds. We explore true crime with empathy and quiet suspense, peeling back every layer until the mind's hidden truth emerges.